you look so official. So does Jason.
Sorry, I can put on a t-shirt or change my background.
No, it almost scares me. Chief DeVito joined us too. Am I right? Yep.
You calling me?
Yep.
Hi.
Just checking. I don't see your face, but we see you're here.
I got plugged that in.
Yeah. I want you. Mm-hmm.
We don't have a sign-in sheet, obviously, so we're doing this digitally to make sure that know who's here. We may ask you to go out.
Right, if I miss you, when I do introductions, yeah, bring it to my attention. So we're going to get started. For all of you that have not been to a West Boca Community Council in person or via Zoom, I'm Sherry Scarborough, I'm the president, and this here is Ella Winnicott, vice president. Her responsibility is to keep me in line. For those that know me, you know that's true. So tonight we've got Captain Moss is with us. Captain Moss, you want to say hi?
Hello, how are you?
Any good updates? Anything going on in West Boca?
Yeah, really quick. Also, I want to recognize Lieutenant Johnson, who's also here with us from West Boca. Crime-wise, year to date, some good news. Vehicle burglaries, which were problematic maybe a year or two ago, they're down year to 1%. So good. And then I know today is Let's Talk Traffic. So I have some statistics and special operations I'm sure I'll go over when maybe some people ask questions. But we have been concentrating heavily on traffic enforcement areas of schools opening and also main roads, Palmetto and Glace and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. Chief DeVito is here from Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. You're muted.
No, it's my computer. Good afternoon, everybody. We have some good news. Station 58 was open full step today. They're over by West Boca High School. The initial for this week, just to get rolling, was a medic and a lieutenant, and then we're adding another medic on the 20th, so within 7 days. It's great because the response times for what you guys need out there is going to be reduced drastically. On top of that, we're working on a lot of protocols for water implementation for what we have going on over here. I'm in the process of working on getting a grant so I can get an airboat for out in the Everglades. Everything from running not only down Loxahatchee Road and the Everglades Preserve over there, but down Lee Road, even in Delray and Point Beach. So we're making a lot of advancements, just trying to make sure that I protect everybody in every way possible. I've also got BSO on board with the Mutual Aid Act, so they're going to be on board if we ever need anything that is so big that their resources will come in handy. So yeah, we're doing well. We're pushing folks, jumping over every hurdle they want to throw in front of us.
Yep, and we appreciate that. We have been fighting to have that station fully manned now for several years, and actually, I believe it was before you even were down here. So we appreciate it, but we also, at the council meeting, we also talked about the airboat that is much needed in West Boca, and we'll certainly be bringing that up the chain of command to see that that happens for us here in West Boca. Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely.
For all of us. We have also tonight we have the principal of SLAM, and I don't want to. Yeah, everybody needs to mute. Is it Art? Sorry. Okay. Hi, the principal of SLAM. Thank you for coming tonight. I do not want to ruin your last name. I'm going to guess it's Boulay, but if you would correct me, I would appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Boulay. They usually just call me Mr. B, but anybody here can call me Matthew or Matt. Thank you for inviting me, and we're very appreciative of everybody here. And I have some of my team members here with us, just in case we need to chime in and provide any questions or answers.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us tonight. We also have David Ricks here, Palm Beach County Engineer's Office. David.
Hi, Todd. How are you? All right. What's happening?
Okay, everybody, you need to mute yourselves or else we hear you. Anyways, before we get started with our program tonight, I want to tell you the questions that have been coming into us that I have relayed to Mr. Ricks, so that one, he can answer these or he can go over these. I sent them in advance so that he wasn't surprised. Many of the items on this list have been on our list for a couple years. We don't seem to be making a whole lot of progress, but we're going to hear tonight what progress has been made, what we can expect, and what we need to do. One is the sidewalk on Lyons Road from Palmetto Park to Glace, the traffic light that's desperately needed at Escondido, traffic light that's needed at Meisner's Preserve on Jog Road, Boca Chase paving. They paved only Boca Chase Drive up to Kane Boulevard. Thereafter, where it was needed most, was not done. And recently, they're reporting that it looks like around all the manholes, the pavement was cut. So maybe that's a good sign that you guys are getting ready to finish the paving there. Hammock Point Elementary School and SLAM Charter School. I'm sorry, I don't know where I got that. In Boca Springs, where we're having issues with traffic and drop off and pickup, and what we can do about that. Sunrise Elementary and Eagles Middle School, same issue with parking, and why can't we just pave the one area or put in eco-friendly pavers so that the parents have some place to pull off the road and drop the kids off. 441, the turn into Publix. There's a steel delineator that is coming up out of the, it's actually, I think it's based from a delineator that's coming up out of the road. A kid on his bike fell there, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. I don't know if they called fire rescue or if they just handled it themselves. And then at 441 Glades, there's a project board that's been sitting there for years. The project's been done now for a long time, and that doesn't seem to move. And the last two items, those actually, the delineator, the steel, and the project board, I don't know if that is Palm Beach County or if that's FDOT. You can, when you talk to us and give us updates, you can let us know. And if it is FDOT, then we'll call Representative Polsky's office to ask for help with that. So, Mr. Ricks.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. I've got two members of my staff. I got Dr. Morris Turkis, Director of my traffic. We'll go through the traffic issues. And then if you get some more time, then I've got Steve Carrier who handles my road paving issues. And so we'll start with because you got a long list of traffic stuff. And so I'll have Morris Turk kind of go through the list of traffic issues, and then go open up a question for that, and then and then we'll go into the paving issues. Mo, are you there? Yeah, I know he's connected.
Yes,
Go ahead,
can
Mo.
you hear me, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, hi everybody, and thanks for having us. Boy, this is a long list of concerns. Let's see if we can go through them one by one. I think I have a copy of the email. So, all right, let's start with talking about sidewalks on Rhines Road from Glace to Palmetto Park. I believe I can share the screen with you. I have a diagram that would show the entire, does not cause disabled. Okay, that's fine. It seems like it's disabled here. But we have some segments of the sidewalk of the road that have sidewalks already in both sides. There are segments that are missing. The biggest challenge is the east side. There is a segment that goes over, I believe, the golf cart tunnel under the road, which would require the construction of the design and construction of a pedestrian bridge, which is one of the most expensive items. However, we have already funded 2 segments for only design and acquisition of right-of-way that is needed for the sidewalks. Once we have that right-of-way acquired, and we expect this to be done within a year from now, at that point then we are planning on applying for grants through the TPA to fund to fill all the gaps in sidewalks on both sides along this road from Palmetto Park Road all the way to Glace Road. That is expected to be an expensive project, but we decided to tackle it by breaking it up into pieces, and the county will pick up. As I said, we have already funded the acquisition of the right-of-way for the 2 segments where we needed right-of-way. And once that is done, again, we are planning on going to the TPA and applying for funds, which the maximum for that grant local initiatives is $5 million. So that's with Rhines Road sidewalks. If you have questions about that, probably it's better to take them now.
Anybody have any questions on the sidewalk from Palmetto to Glace?
Sounds like it's a lot of processes. Do you have a final ETA in mind there?
As I said, we have already funded the acquisition of right-of-way on 2 segments that require right-of-way. And as soon as we get that acquired, we will be applying for the grant. The grant, typically, when you are approved for grants, these are federal grants, they program you into the 5th or 6th year in the 5-year program. But shortly after that, they advance projects because always there are projects that are programmed that drop out at the last minute. So almost all of the projects that we have got grants for ended up being built 3 years or so before they were initially programmed. So I would say that the entire segment, if everything goes well, in 3 years, I would imagine that construction will be pending on this project.
I have a question.
That includes going over the golf cart tunnel?
Yes. That is the expensive part, and that's why we decided, as again, in the past, we had those projects, those gaps on the list for the last 10 years or more, and the reason that we have not been able to build them was because they were expensive to build. So now we decided to, again, as I said, take care of the ones that we can afford to take care of, and then go for federal grants for the expensive part of it.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions on the sidewalk?
Yes. What is the rationale for putting sidewalks in for that area from Palmetto to Glace?
Well, this is the question for me. The rationale for it. This is a standard design that we have for all of our roads. We try to provide bicycle lanes and sidewalks on both sides of any of our major roads. So, over the years, we have received a lot of requests for sidewalks to fill the gaps along this corridor, and that's why those segments that are included on the list of wish list for sidewalks in the county for the sidewalk program. We were able to build one segment from just south of Escondido to Glace Road as part of the road reconstruction project that we had with DOT undertake a few years back to fix a design glitch.
That's north of Escondido.
Yes, north of Escondido to Glace Road. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so that one was put, but they put it only on one side because the state could not justify the cost of putting it on the other side, but they left enough room for us on the east side to build it ourselves. So it's included in this project that we are working on now.
Thank you, Mo. If you want to go on to the next.
All right, the traffic light at Escondido. We studied that intersection repeatedly. As you all know, traffic signals are installed only when they meet what we call a signal warrant that are provided in the federal document called the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. This manual or those standards were adopted by the state, and they are also adopted by the county, and we use them strictly in deciding whether to install a signal at any given intersection or not. And those guidelines take into consideration several things. Amongst them are the existing geometry of the road and the intersection in terms of number and type of lanes, turn lanes, right turn, left turn, and number of through lanes, both on the main street and the side street. They take also into consideration delays sustained by traffic on the side street. And they also take into consideration speeds along through that intersection, as well as accident history. So this intersection does not meet the warrants for the signal. And we have studied it several times in the past. The last time we studied it, I believe, was in late 2019. We can study it again, but again, this is not gonna change the fact that it does not meet the warrants, because the communities on both sides of the intersection have already been completed and built up with their ultimate capacity. So there is no room for adding more homes, plus more demand that may change the outcome.
Okay, so Mo, so you're saying no to traffic light. So what is Palm Beach County proposing to do to save lives at that intersection and to help with the accidents that are going on there in the back?
Right. This intersection is not notorious for actions that are not expected or typical of an intersection of this type. Intersection and an accident by itself does not mean that you need a light. Of course, each accident, has its causes and needs to be studied on its own. And each time we have serious accidents happening on any of our roads or intersections, our staff looks into them and studies them to find out if they indicate any deficiency in the design of the roads that we can, with engineering intervention, can fix and help mitigate. That intersection does not have any of those. Actually, that intersection, that segment of the road was built not long ago, as you know.
There have been several deaths at that intersection. Jeanette that was just speaking, her son happens to be one of them. There are other that I don't know their names that have been killed at that intersection. And we know that when Lyons Road, when you guys were doing whatever with Dead Man's Curve, as it's named appropriately here in West Boca, that there was a traffic light, a temporary traffic light that was put up. It was run, I believe, on a generator. And we had no incidents that occurred when that temporary traffic light was installed. So we know a traffic light would definitely help with these communities being able to get in and out. And quite honestly, I mean, the basis, and Mr. Ricks, this is to you as well, the basis of putting in a traffic light shouldn't depend on how many accidents there are. It should also be for convenience, to get people in and out of their communities and get them to work safely. And perhaps the reason that there haven't been as many accidents in recent years is because the people leaving these two communities are afraid to pull out on to Lyons Road because they're going to get hit, and because they'll only make a right-hand turn now, because you can't pull out and get out and go south if you're coming out of Escondido, or if you're coming from the other community, you can't come out and go north. So there has to be a solution, and I don't know what it is. If it's not a traffic light, Palm Beach County needs to stop saying that it doesn't warrant a traffic light. If it doesn't warrant a traffic light, then you need to tell us, you're the engineers and the experts, you need to be telling us what will work to keep our residents safe. God knows, I think everybody here, we've recently got our estimated tax bill. We are paying a fortune for services from Palm Beach County, and when I look around, I certainly don't see our roads being improved as much as they are west and north of us. So what is Palm Beach County going to do to help our residents in West Boca get in and out of their communities? I mean, this has been going on for years. The last meeting we were at, there were a lot of people in attendance for this specific reason. So what are we going to do?
Well, I mean, we need to look at the data. And so, I mean, just like Mo indicated, we had a recent DOT project when I started in 2018 that improved the road around that area. And so we're going to take another look at the additional improvements we can do to that area. But from a traffic light standpoint, we've got to stake by the standard DOT criteria. But there's other things we can do. So we will take a look at that, and I'll come back to you in terms of what improvements we can do to improve the safety of the area. But
that's what we're asking. If we're not getting a traffic signal there, what is the answer to keep our residents safe?
okay.
I mean, this has been the question for several years now, and for several years we keep getting the same answer. It doesn't warrant a traffic light. Well, what's the answer to fix this problem?
So I will personally look at the data, and I'll get back to you in terms of what
I mean, the data's not going to change.
Drive the road.
You did it.
Drive the road. Look at the road. You have re-engineered that road and you've made it a speedway. You cannot judge the speed of the cars when you're trying to come out of that community. You cannot judge it. You take your heart and your life in your hands to get out and into those communities. And I don't care that our communities are static in number. They are building communities up the street and down the street. That increases the traffic. It is a hazard, and you need to fix it.
Okay, Jen. All right, I'm gonna mute you. One other issue with the Dead Man's Curve is that when it rains, it's flooded there. Again, creating more of a traffic hazard. So, Mr. Ricks, I would really appreciate it if you would go back, instead of just looking at the data, go look at the road, stand out there, look at the residents trying to get in and out, because I don't think the data is going to change much, but nonetheless, it doesn't lessen the ability or increase the ability of these residents getting in and out of their communities safely. So let's go on to the next traffic light issue at Meisner's Preserve. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I met with Dr. Stobek. I believe he represents that community, and we also discussed that location as well as the Escondido intersection with Commissioner Sachs and her staff. It's the same story. That intersection does not meet the signal warrants. And I want to correct a couple of misconceptions that most people have. One is that they believe that signal is safer. That is not true. I know it's hard to believe, but it's not true. Signals are known to create more hazard than no signals. There are more accidents that happen at signalized intersections than at intersections that are controlled with two-way stop. That's one. Secondly, the convenience for the communities to get out. That's true. That's probably the most pressing issue, and that's the desire. If I lived in one of these communities, I would also probably be rooting for a signal because it will, make it easier for me to come out. However, there is a balancing act as well because the convenience of to put a signal to stop traffic on the main road to allow traffic from the side street to come out, it's inconvenience to the traffic on the main street. So imagine if we were to go and accept this argument and install signals everywhere where people think that it is reasonable and required. We would end up having signals at every corner.
No,
You would end up, sorry.
No, we don't disagree that we can't have a signal at every single entrance, and don't disagree that traffic lights do cause accidents. There's no doubt. We know the famous story of West Boca, the traffic accident, the 5 people killed right after the light went in. But we need help in coming up with something that makes that road safer, especially now that the curb's been straightened, or I don't know that's been straightened. I know the road's been wider and supposed to be safer. We need help though, so that we don't have accidents and so that we don't need a traffic light. And maybe something as simple as you guys adjusting the lights at Glace and Boca and Palmetto Park, so that there is a time lapse that the homeowners can get in and out of the communities. Maybe that's something you can do. I don't know. And then as far as Meisner's Preserve, there you have an issue where new development is occurring there now. You've got a school right across from the Civic Center. You have an office building going in. You recently closed up that median. You've got a problem there. And again, you can't get out of that community unless you're making a right turn out onto Jog Road. So we need solutions for there. And we'll get in touch with Commissioner Sachs, because if I recall, Commissioner Sachs had promised that we would get a light at Escondido. So we'll be in touch with her. So we'll move on then to the next thing, which is the Boca Chase Drive paving, where it was paved up to from 441 to Kane Boulevard, and then the rest of Boca Chase Drive, which is really horrific, was not touched. But recently, I'm told that around the manholes, the paving has been removed. So maybe you are going to finish paving that drive.
Yeah, this is Steve Carrier. I'm the Assistant County Engineer in charge of Road and Bridge.
Thank you for coming. Haven't talked to you in a long time.
Sure. So, we did the east piece because we had money available. The west piece is scheduled. It's actually part of our 1 penny sales surtax funding. Unfortunately, it's not scheduled till 23, so about a year it'll be eligible to start. And the work being done with the manholes is by our Water Utilities Department, and it's just part of their maintenance. And I think they're leveling the manholes. So it's sanitary sewer manholes that they are leveling in anticipation of our resurfacing later in fiscal year 23.
Okay. So anything that we hope to get done here in West Boca, Mr. Ricks, we have to rely on the 1 penny sales tax, not on our real estate taxes that we pay every year?
Well, we only got so much money. And so
I understand that, but I also understand that in West Boca, we're putting a lot of money in the county's coffers, and we're not getting anything. We're not getting anything.
I hear, but I'm only going to use what I've been budgeted. So, but we do get money for resurfacing. We also get the sales tax, and so we got to balance that countywide in terms of the dollars that we use.
And I'm not sure of your exact limits, but didn't we just finish Boca Chase subdivision resurfacing?
You did you mean within the community?
Yeah.
You did I think there was Barrington and another community that Palm Beach County owns the road. The rest of the roads that have all been paved were paved by those individual communities. They're private roads, which I believe right now every single road's been repaved. within the past couple years. But
Right.
Boca Chase Drive, when you drive down Boca Chase Drive from Kane, all the way around that circle, we went out with Commissioner Sachs' aide and looked at all of these roads several months ago, and it's terrible.
We agree with you. We do agree with you, and so that I'm just limited to, and our fiscal year 23 starts October of 2022. So all I can promise you is that I'll put that one at the top of the list, and I'll try to start it as soon as October 2022 as I can.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Thank you. Okay, so now, I'm going to let Ellen take over the ones that are involving the schools. And she's recently talked to Chairman Barbieri.
Ellen, we can't hear you.
It may be because I'm not directly into the mic. Can you hear me better now?
Much better.
Okay. I had an opportunity yesterday to speak with Mr. Barbieri at length. He is aware of the situation that's going on there. And Matt, he remembers when you became principal, and it was a good conversation. And he will do everything. He can't be here tonight because they have a budget meeting. So he promises that he will coordinate with you to come up with a solution that is good for SLAM, that is good for your students, that is good for the community. And he had some ideas brewing, so he suggested that I tell you to get in touch with him. He is waiting to hear from you, and he is fully apprised of what's going on. So I would do that tomorrow. And if you don't hear from him, he's a busy guy, as you know, and you are also, let us know. And we will definitely follow up on this situation, which is unmanageable. For those of you who don't know, there are two schools that are next to each other on a small street, which is Hammock, and it's blocked just about getting through. Did I say that correct? Did I say that right?
Well, thank you. The school with two schools. There's a traditional public school at Coral Sunset Elementary, and Slam Boca Middle High, which is a charter public. I've met with Boca Springs. The director, she's actually come to the building, and we've met. I think she was here. I don't see her now. Joyce. Hi, Joyce.
Hi.
I've also met with the principal as well. There is a few things that maybe this board can help us with. I guess the zoning, when we started this, the school wasn't supposed to be on this lot. Well, we're here now. We are flourishing, and we are doing a good job in the community. There's a few things that I'd like to point out. Number one, the speed limit zone for when school starts, it's in the middle of our property, so therefore cars are driving up really fast, and then once they get to the school zone, then they are slowing down, but by that time they're already halfway through our lot. So I think moving that south on Hammock would help to start the speed zone a little bit earlier to slow cars down. That's one thing. Our logistic traffic pattern, we absorb up to 300 cars around our entire loop. That helps with the traffic on Hammock itself. We also use a silent dismissal process, which is a staggered dismissal. It's more controlled for the security and safety of everybody in the building. So we've implemented certain things. Next year, we're even moving into a larger staggered release time, making sure that the elementary school is not in our release zone at all. So we're going to release the high school at 2:30 and the middle school at 3:30. We are thinking logistically that will help out the community tremendously when it comes to that. I also spoke to Boca Springs about tying our fences together and linking up so we don't have people coming into the community as well. I've met with the principal from Coral Sunset Elementary to just talk logistics, because another issue is that parents, and this is more of a community thing, parents are actually parking on the grass on each side of Hammock, and that's creating problems. Number one, for safety of students, because students are crossing without using the guards. Number two, they are trying to merge back into the traffic, which creates a bigger delay into the traffic pattern. So I would highly suggest widening the roads as much as possible and removing that grass area so people can't park there, because it is creating a huge issue, not only for the Slam Boca students, the Coral Sunset Elementary students, which these are little kids, and this is dangerous for them. And we are manning as many people as we can outside just to protect the safety of our children. And I think that's something that I think school zones and roads should just take a look at, because it's very dangerous. We're very concerned about that. Also, if we could have no parking signs up, we have a few, but parents, I know that I spoke to Joyce, and the cops told me that there's only a certain amount of feet that go between no parking zones. So if we can have a little bit more of no parking zones staggered, we would greatly appreciate that as a community. And that's all for us in Slam Boca. Thank you.
And Boca Springs, because Slam is right next to us, they have a right lane that they put in, a turn lane to turn into our development. But Slam has a turn lane going into their development, and it's the same turn lane. So in Boca Springs, we can't get into our development from Hammock. And then our front entrance, which is on Judge Winnikoff, there's a line that goes all the way down and around through 441 to Hammock.
Right,
and we can't get in front of us.
And we spoke to Boca Springs. They have electronic gates that they're going to be able to utilize, and by them shutting them during dismissal time doesn't allow parents from both schools trying to park in there to pick up their children. We send letters every week to parents reminding them of the traffic pattern. I personally am outside with letters, handing them out to parents. I would also recommend, and I know that traffic light's a sticky situation in this meeting, but I would also to take a look at a traffic light between Hammock and Judge Winnikoff. I think it would regulate some type of traffic, and that stop sign kind of slows and impedes the flow of traffic in front of Hammock between both schools. So I would recommend to just take a look at that.
Even if they can have it flashing during non-school hours and not on.
I'm not sure I understand what the signal will be doing for you. What do you expect from the signal on Hammock?
So what happens is that Hammock and Winnikoff, everybody wants to make a left, because not all of our students, because we are a charter school, not a lot of our 60% of our students are from Palm Beach County, 40% from Broward County, which is on the Coral Springs line and Parkland line. So a lot of our people head southbound. We try to force everybody right as much as possible to feed them to, I think it's Glace, if I'm not mistaken.
Palmetto Park.
Yamato Park. We try to feed them that way, but a lot of our community goes left, and it also helps with the Coral Sunset traffic, making people go left. What happens is that left turns into one lane all the way down Hammock onto Winnikoff. That Winnikoff is a stop sign, so it's a slower process to make a left, meaning that the line that's queuing all the way through from Coral Sunset and Slam Boca is just backing up, and it's creating a major problem for us.
Okay, the signal then is at the intersection of Hammock and Judge Winnikoff, right?
Correct, sir. Correct.
Okay.
So Chief DeVito and Captain Moss, maybe you have a little more experience at these intersections. Chief, I know, we've got the station right there, and I know you both just responded to a call there last week. So maybe you have some insight, any solution.
Well, as far as fire risk is concerned, when I spoke to the crews that are out there, that yes, they agree having two schools that are letting parents meet up at the same time is an issue. Obviously, those roads don't leave for a lot of room. But for the most part, except for this one instance where somebody complained, where there happened to be two MPNL trucks that were doing reversing, and just not allowing certain cars to pull off the roadway. Yeah, that caused a slight delay, but even for fire rescue and a 4-minute delay, the parade, I believe, Captain Moss said, research, it was like 2.5 minutes for PBSO to respond. So as far as we're concerned, as long as the cars are able to pull off the roadway and clear the roads, we're still able to get through. It comes down to this human nature of either freezing and not getting out of the way or not knowing which way to turn. Putting stop signs and stop lights and all that in there, you're still going to have the same human nature, human error in where to go. You're better off sending out notices to people that when they see emergency vehicles to pull off to the right, freeze, or turn, excuse me, in multiple directions. But yes, the incidents that happened recently, me and Captain Moss discussed it, and honestly, when you put the human factor in it, you're really not going to have one way or the other a right answer. If you can stagger the schools, I don't know what the school board and all that, how they control that, but if you can stagger, their pickup times and drop-offs and all that, but you guys put 2 schools in a very close proximity, other than moving the schools or widening the roads, that's an engineering issue.
Okay. Captain Moss, can you send your deputies out and they're already out there every day? Well, not every day.
Yeah, I can tell you that in the first 3 weeks of this school year, we have 23 different schools in West Boca. So, you can do the math. To provide deputies at each school every day for pickup and drop-off isn't feasible. But within those first 3 weeks, to include this area, we had over 363 assists to the school areas in terms of either school crossing, directing traffic, and helping out with trying to move parents through. In addition to that, we had over 500 traffic stops just that were school related. A lot of them received citations, but again, we try and educate the public on the best way to move through quickly because the parents are going to pick up their kids. Writing tickets isn't necessarily going to solve the problem, but when the schools call us, we will respond as long as we're available. With everything I heard the principal, Mr. B, say so far, I think he's done a great job in doing as much as he can to find solutions. And if we can be part of that solution, we will definitely work with him. I know when the school first opened, I think the resource officers were either FHP or Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. And when that occurred, we're able to go right into that intersection as the school lets out and alleviate a lot of that pressure by moving parents out of the area. Right now, I don't know. I think you have guardians, and I don't know that they'll go into the traffic, but if we are there and can help, we will. And like I said, I know when we first opened up, we were. So,
Captain Moss, number one, thank you, because the first 2 weeks we did see your presence out, and we really appreciated that. I just wanted, for the record, we are already a staggered time from the elementary school, so we are at different times. It's just the flow of their traffic and the flow of ours. It's just an overlap. It's just the nature of the school flow, and that's unfortunately their logistical maps. Their building can only absorb a number of cars, and ours is so it's just a recipe there. But we did reach out. I know that the team members did get on a phone call, and we're even willing to get an off duty here for 4 hours, even if it's not really 4 hours, because in reality it's more of the morning is to me is my concern of the morning is more dangerous than the afternoon, to be quite honest with you, because people are just dropping off in the middle of the road for both schools and walking students across. We are willing to get an off duty here for pay the 4 hours and just really use them for the 2 hours. We're here for the community, and we want the safety of our children at the number one forefront of everything that we do.
I feel like Boca Springs is like on the back burner here because we can't get in and out of our development. and there's police that are there once in a while, and they do not stop people from blocking the intersection.
Captain Moss, would no parking signs help or hinder?
Every situation, the parents are going to come and pick up the kids. If you limit their ability to find a place to park without blocking traffic, the streets are going to gridlock and they are going to block traffic. So, that's an engineering issue. If they could find some way to have a place where people would park to pick up their kids safely that wouldn't block the areas, that would certainly help. But to put up no parking signs and then to issue tickets might not be practical.
I didn't think so either, but I was just wondering if that would help or hinder from your point of view.
Can we put up signs, no blocking of intersection?
You can put up anything you want. I hate to say.
I don't mean us.
Intersection, but whether the parents do that or not, it's a whole different story. I know we have the same situation at Saturnia, Eagles Landing in the elementary school there. I think there's no parking signs every 5 feet, but it doesn't stop them. Now they drive down the sidewalk around the signs. So, I mean, David and Mo, I'm thinking that, there's the pavers, and I'm not sure what you call them. I call them eco-friendly, where they're just like cement with holes in it that allows the water to go through. That why can't we, and I guess this is something we can talk to the school board about too, put it in pavers in those areas where the parents are pulling off. They're going to do it anyways, and like Captain Moss said, you can't write all of them a ticket, and certainly you can't shoot them. I suggest that with just the first car. Just shoot the first driver that does that, and we'd never have a problem again. But Captain Moss doesn't like that. So if we put in those pavers, and maybe this is something too. I see Joanne's here. Joanne, hi. It's nice to see you. What a nice surprise.
Very much, hello.
That maybe it's zoning when we're doing these developments, and when there's a school that's going in or something, maybe it's something that should be required that in front of the school that these pavers be put in, so that one, it's grass, but the parents have some place to pull over. Because let's face it, until Palm Beach County has busing for every single student, we are going to have this problem nonstop. So,
Sherry, we have discussion about this whole issue with public schools. We have similar problems all over. I'm not aware of any single public school that does not have traffic issues. And so we are trying to think out of the box. And David, Joanne, and I are starting, to reach out to the school district. And we already spoke to the Palm Beach County Parks Department about certain ideas of how we can come up with solutions. Parks Department is important because there are so many of our schools that are built next to parks, and we can utilize those parks to make people bring their kids, drop them off there, and maybe then have those kids walk to the school, or if they are a little farther away, have the school district provide shuttle buses. So all traffic, drop off and pick up will happen on the parks grounds, where you have plenty of room for everybody without impacting traffic on the roads to drop off without tension and pick up their kids. So this is one of the ideas. The other idea is for the school district to consider staggering their start time and dismissal times on a 15-minute blocks or something like that, and not allow parents to come in or to drop off or pick up outside of their allotted blocks of times. There are also ideas that we have already implemented. Actually, the first time we ever done it was on Lyons Road, just north of Lake Worth Boulevard. We just finished that project where we built on-street or off-street parking along the road for parents to drop off and pick up their kids. And of course, we built some of the sidewalks that lead from there for them to walk into the school and cross safely. So we are exploring, things to do. We initially suggested to the school district to try to learn from the charter schools who have done tremendously great job in solving this problem by engineering it at the time when they had, the site plans designed for their schools with multiple drop-off lanes and staff involved in helping kids disembark and walk on the curbside and leave. But unfortunately, the public school district told us that for risk assessment reasons and other considerations, they could not do the same thing as the charter schools are doing. So we are exploring ways to come up with solutions, and we hopefully be able to get something done soon. The Parks Department, our Parks Department, welcomed this idea, and they told us that they are aware of several parks and schools where parents are already doing it, but in a disorderly manner, and they would appreciate it if we could work on a formal, setup amongst all parties so that things could be done in a safe and formal way. So we are working on that.
Certainly hope that all the departments that are here listening tonight heed that, and because it is such a chronic problem. Mr. B, do you have anything you want to add, or do we have a direction? Certainly you should get in touch with Mr. Barbieri. Is there anything else we can help facilitate?
Well, I really appreciate everybody here and the ability for this community to be proactive rather than reactive, and I just greatly appreciate everybody here, and I will definitely continue to work with Joyce and Boca Springs and the Coral Sunset and obviously Chairman Barbieri to get a resolution that's conducive to everybody and the safety of all our students.
Thank you. And we'll be back in touch with you, as well as Joyce and Mr. Barbieri and the chief and the captain and Palm Beach County Roads and Bridge, whatever we can do so that we can ensure that the students in West Boca are safe. Obviously, we want them safe in all of Palm Beach County, but our interest right here, right tonight, is in West Boca, what we need to do for the students as well as the residents that live next to schools. It's so desirable to live right next to a school, and then so frustrating to find out that you can't get in and out of your community. And Mo, I think you're the one that said it. We're not unique. I know that. I know in my community, you have to time what time you leave for work in the morning because you cannot get out. And although kids in my community, believe it or not, they take bus, but the parents line up in the cars to drop them off at the entrance. I don't blame them. When I was a kid, way back, where they did provide buses for everybody, they actually came to my driveway and just picked us up as they did all the other kids in my school. Ellen had to walk uphill both ways, but I got to ride a bus. So, anyways, hopefully we can come up with something, whether it's with parks. I think when I saw Captain Moss last week, we talked a little bit about that even South County Regional Park in the morning, the cars are backed up in the park with parents waiting to get through the intersection to drop them off at Eagles Landing Middle School. So, there might be a solution there. So maybe we can even set up some type of round table that we can all sit down together and throw around some ideas.
Yeah, but the school district needs to cooperate with us, and I think they will. That's the key.
That's the goal. We're on that piece of it. So if you need us, Mr. Bean, please be in touch. We're reachable and can reach other people. So thank you.
So I think that was my list from all the residents. Oh no, the last one is that steel that's sticking up out of the road on 441 turning into Publix.
Yeah.
Is that the county or is that the state?
Steve Carrier again. Before I get into that, I should have mentioned some of the other resurfacing we have planned because you may be of interest. And again, I apologize for not knowing the limit. So we are doing some resurfacing in Sandalfoot Cove, the residential streets that may have already started. But next year, which starts in 2 weeks, we have 3 way east of 95 to Crawford, which is all the county owned, maintained Palmetto Park Road.
Wait. Say that again, because Glace and Palmetto both go north and south. So
we are doing Palmetto Park Road from Glace, which is all the way out west, and we're doing Palmetto Park from all the way out where it connects into Glace, all the way
by the high
east.
school.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
But that's a multi-million-dollar project for us. That is part of the sales tax, so we're doing that next year. We're doing a piece of jog road from Glace to Potomac. We would have done from Glace to Yamato, but from Potomac to Yamato is in our 5-year road program for improvements to 6 lanes. So that will occur later, but we're going to do jog from Glace to Potomac next year, and we're going to do a piece of Southwest 8th Street from Southwest 65th to Boca Rio. So just so you know, that's some of our other resurfacing we have planned for next year.
Okay.
As far as the steel, I'm not sure we located it, but we think we did. We think it's at the bridge.
Yeah, it's like if you're turning out of Boca Chase,
right?
This kid I think was coming from Boca Gardens, and it was, if you were making a left, it was going to be right there on the right, probably right before the bridge.
So I'll look at that again, but that's a private entrance into Publix, right?
I think it's a turn lane. I don't know. I think it's Palm Beach County Road, but I don't know. There used to be delineators there. I don't know.
I'm going to look at it again, because all my guys found it was that there was a missing, at the bridge, there was a missing handrail, and as part of the fold-in, but I'm not sure they found the right spot.
No, this is definitely in the road. Steve, if somebody wants to call me, I'm happy to go out and meet him and show you where I saw the kid.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
So we will do that and find out exactly where it is.
And then we have the board at 441 in Glace. Is that Palm Beach County, or do we need to get a hold of Senator Polsky's office to get that board taken down?
That should be DOT, but I can have our staff, send a note to DOT about this and have them go out and check it out.
That would be certainly appreciated.
Yeah.
And before we open it up for additional questions, one, I know I have a really long list, and I know I have the tendency that I can get nasty, and it's not that I'm nasty, it's that I'm passionate about helping the people in West Boca. So I don't want everybody to think that you guys don't do anything for West Boca, because certainly I know that you do. And we certainly do appreciate the paving that you have done, stop signs that go in, sidewalks that get fixed, which, is a lot in West Boca. So thank you for that. With that being said, then I'm going to go to our members. Does anybody have any additional questions?
I have something to say, if I may.
Arthur?
Yes, I'm just wondering, I know all the laws, all the rules that I've heard tonight. I'm not an expert on traffic flow or anything. But I just wonder if it would be possible for some of the people who run this area to go into one of these communities in the morning and physically see what these people are suffering from. I think on that level, maybe we would get through without all these statistics that we don't have enough to put a light in and we can't do this. I think if we could prevail on some of the people who could control the money to go in there and actually see what these people are subjected to, that might go a long way to solve some of these problems. That's it.
Thank you, Arthur.
That's what Jeanette said also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody?
Yeah, I have a question and a comment. First of all, just to thank you for the new light that's going up on Boca Rio and Palmetto Park Road. I have two questions with that. Number one, it's been up there for several months. Just curious as to when it will become active. And number two, more concerning, if you're driving north on Boca Rio Road as you approach the Palmetto Park overpass, you cannot physically see that light. So it's red. You're not going to see it when you're driving. Is there is there a plan to put a flashing light on that bridge overpass to say red light ahead? Because without that, I fear that people will not see that red light until they're at the intersection, which may be too late for them to stop.
I will have staff check on that, but that's part of the design. We make sure that all drivers should be able to see a red light far enough to be able to stop. So I will check on that. And your other question about why is it not active yet? We have had issues with FPL. We are waiting on them to come in and hook us up.
Okay.
And thank you for reminding me. I know that we tried to have them do it a while ago, but I will go back at it and see if we can reach out to the higher ups in FPL to see if we can accelerate it.
Great, thank you, and thank you for putting it there. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
No problem.
See, I told you there was good things that you guys have done.
We also installed, right turn lanes approaching that interchange on Palmetto Park Road, westbound and eastbound right turn lanes. Last year or the year before, that was one project that we did there. And there is another project that we are doing, and I think Southwest 18th and Boca Rio, we are going to be improving that intersection, adding capacity to the north approach. Of course, there are a lot of projects that we are doing.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I have a question. Do you have an update on the Exxon station at the corner of Glace and 441, the mobile station? Mission Bay?
I do not. That's something that I'll check into, see what's going on, because I think Elliot asked about that recently. Have no idea what's going on there, other than that my guess is that they're trying to pull permits, and Palm Beach County, the building department, needs employees so bad that they can't get those permits out. So, but that's certainly something I can follow up, and I'll let you guys know next month what's going on there.
Thank you.
Harry, if you need
Joanne.
anything with that, I'll help you out.
Thank you. I'm so
Sure.
glad you're here.
We have no problem.
So, Joanne, do you know what's going on?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I just took notes on it, so I'll look into it tomorrow and get with you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
She's the best. Anybody else have any questions, any comments? No? Okay, well then, we will call it a night. Thank everybody for coming, and for those of you, Happy New Year, actually for everybody, Happy New Year, and what's the...
It's Yom Kippur is...
Yom Kippur is not New Year's, I know that, it's the Day of Atonement.
Correct, right, so have a good fast, is what we say.
Have a good fast, a good fast, and we will see you in a month from now. Thank you for coming tonight, much
Keep
appreciated.
your questions coming, and we will see what we can
Yep,
do.
email us, wbccemail@gmail.com, and keep the questions coming in, and we'll follow up with you all. Thank you, have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Night.
Good night.
All right.